welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
So the fourth alleged victim, Mia, is still on the stand as we speak now, being cross-examined by Diddy's lawyers. And a couple of interesting things have come out. What they are trying to show, and this is something that we have heard from the defense in the weeks and months leading up to this trial, is that there is a money motivation by the alleged victims that should put some of their stories, at least, in doubt. There are certain things like the Cassie video you can't argue.
Yes, Cassie got a lot of money, but you also...
It's undeniable. You're looking at it right there.
But in the case of victim 4, as the government calls her, Mia...
Who is an ex-employee of Diddy's.
Ex-employee of Diddy's. She has, for 2 days now, been talking a lot about all of the abuse she says she suffered while she was working for Diddy. And some of that abuse, she alleges, includes sexual assaults, multiple sexual assaults. But one of the things that came up while prosecutors while she was testifying this morning, prosecutors asked her about a settlement that she got. A settlement when her employment ended for Bad Boy. It's actually Revolt Films that she was working for. That shut down, and then she was unemployed, and she was in negotiations with them, had mediation about a settlement.
Never a lawsuit.
Settlement package.
Never
no
a
lawsuit was filed.
She had asked for $10 million. And ultimately settled for several $100,000.
$200,000, I think $200,000 to her, and she said her lawyers got the same amount.
That's right.
So
that's right. It sounds like it was a $400,000 settlement, of which she got $200,000. But you may be asking yourself, why, if you're going for $10 million, would you not play every chip that you have in your favor? And she's testified about multiple instances of sexual assault that she says Diddy perpetrated upon her. But when asked on the stand, did you bring these up when you were looking for negotiating this settlement, she says, no, I'm going to take those with me until I die. So the question will be raised by Diddy's defense counsel is, well, why didn't you raise that? If you're going for $10 million and he's only offering $400,000, you can get it up if you bring more bullets to your negotiation.
So for one thing, I mean, she's a sexual assault victim, according to her, right? So we know that sexual assault victims aren't always that willing to be open about the fact that they are victims of sexual assault.
That's true. Now,
and I know what you're saying about raising, but
hold on. This, just so you know, this was a private mediation. Mm-hmm. So there's no doubt that there was an NDA attached to the mediation and the settlement. This is always the case.
Sure.
So the notion is Diddy is certainly not going to talk about that because it hurts him if he were to talk about that after the settlement. So he'd want to keep that quiet. So she would be protected in terms of this ever getting out to the public.
Not getting out to the public. She's still sitting in a room with a bunch of lawyers.
Let me make this clear. I'm not saying that that you should say, oh, then she must be lying in court. But the issue is a legal issue, that what the defense has to do is create reasonable doubt. The lawyers for the defense are arguing that when the 4 women who are making allegations, the grievances they had were dealt with by civil litigation, not going to the police. Now, again, I'm not saying that I'm buying it. Mm-hmm. I'm saying this is what they're arguing. And all they have to do is create reasonable doubt where somebody says, you know, I think she's probably telling the truth, but probably isn't beyond a reasonable doubt. That's what the defense is looking for. And it is interesting. Prosecutors raised this with her, knowing that the defense would if they didn't.
So they wanted to get out in front of it.
To blunt the issue, to get out ahead of this discrepancy between only getting a small settlement and not pushing the sexual assault allegations. But remember, she's in a criminal context now. She has to testify under penalty of perjury. She has no sort of incentive to lie. She's not going after money in the criminal case, and she has a lot of risk if she lies about the sexual assaults in the criminal case. So a lot of the jurors will know that there's risk if she lied about the sexual assaults now, but before holding them in the civil negotiations, that's not lying or telling the truth. That just may be someone who was traumatized.
So one of the great criminal defense lawyers in the United States won what a lot of people thought seemingly impossible case, the Casey Anthony trial, where Casey Anthony was acquitted, and that would be one Jose Baez. And he is joining us right now. Jose, welcome back to TMZ Live.
Thanks for having me, Harvey.
So, what say you about this development that that Mia, as she is known by in court, her alias, never raised sexual assault in the civil negotiation?
Well, I think it's important to note that the jurors have to utilize all the information whenever they're determining the credibility of a witness. So it's kind of hard for us to go back and know what the truth is. So the best way to look at it is not only the truth, but all of it and all of the aspects in the relationship here. And you've got to consider this: if something so significant is omitted in a civil complaint, I mean, you go with your best foot forward. And if you have sexual assault, and I understand the hesitancy of an alleged victim or an actual victim coming forward, but the fact that that wasn't mentioned would weigh heavily on me if I was a juror. And on top of that, and I hope his lawyers are doing a good enough job on this, is when this whole case broke, it broke out as a money grab. And it broke out because Cassie wanted money. The video got released. She got her money, and then they came after him. So what happens next is every person who Diddy had beef with or issues one way or another may be looking to cash in, and you have
And
to
we did see
really
that.
show
Yeah.
that. You have to see that and look at all of that and take all of that into consideration, especially when you're considering so many people are coming forward. Well, why are so many people coming forward? Well, maybe because there are so many lawyers
Yeah.
and so many, and so many people who know the opportunities that are out there for deep pockets. And if you're wronged by a deep pocket, you can cash in.
If you were the defense, how do you bring that up on cross-examination with Mia without sounding like you are questioning a sexual, like you are attacking a sexual assault victim, but you want to get the information out that you want to make that point to the jury?
Look, a courtroom is not a pretty place. It's not a situation where you have to handle everything with kid gloves. No, a lot of times you're going to hear ugly testimony. And certainly you're hearing ugly testimony in the government's case in chief. So you have to fight fire with fire. You can't it's not a popularity contest as to who has the nicest lawyer. It's a popularity contest as to who has the best evidence and who can attack the evidence and what actually happened. So I don't think the lawyers should be concerned with looking bad. Obviously, there's a tactful way of doing things because you don't want to turn off jurors. So it has to be handled in a certain way, but you're going to have to address the tough issues. And this is more of an issue about the money, not necessarily the sexual assault, and a truth or a lie, not necessarily what happened in terms of an alleged sexual assault. So I think you got to go right for it.
So, there are a bunch of things at issue here. One is the transportation sex worker, where there involves coercion or force. If the jury believes Cassie, I think they nail him on that, because there was a plane ride where she says he said to her squarely, either you do a freak off when we land in New York, or I'm going to release this video of you. So in a freak off, a prior freak off. So if they believe her, and
I mean,
she was pretty damn credible.
She becomes very believable, one, because of that video, because of the beating video. So they already see her as a victim, and they're going to tend to believe Cassie over anything Diddy's side presents.
It seems to me, just based on that alone, Jose, they got him.
Isn't it odd that we're talking about a RICO case with domestic violence?
you're right. RICO is
that was going to be our separate thing.
Yeah.
As to the sex worker, the transportation based on force and coercion, seems to me he's got a big problem with that.
Well, the biggest problem that he has is not necessarily Cassie. It's more the male prostitutes who are traveling.
That's true.
That, to me, I think is, unless you can combat who paid for it, who set it up, and whether he was the one involved in that. If that happens, when I saw the indictment, I always thought this is the toughest part of this case, is the transportation for sex traffickers. A lot of men don't realize that.
For sure. What do you think of racketeering?
I think it's an abuse of governmental power. I mean, look, all the evidence you hear coming in are is evidence about a very toxic relationship that had lots of downs. And I believe you've heard a lot of drug use. I also believe he has stated he went to therapy subsequent to that. When someone's in that downfall, when someone's on that down spiral and they're crashing, it's an ugly sight. And a lot of ugly things happen, but I don't think this needs to be a federal crime. You got other crimes that he's committing, and one should be prosecuted for those crimes. But to take a case it's more of a headline chasing type of case where you're taking a public figure and you're completely using the power of the government of the United States against one individual, essentially for having a drug problem and being incredibly abusive to his woman. I'm not seeing a whole lot of it. I mean, we see cases like this all over the U.S. where boyfriends break up and they go after the current boyfriend, and there's fights and all kinds of ugliness going on with that. They don't make a federal case out of it. They're making a federal case out of it because it's Diddy and no other reason. So I think really, again, is calling the government out on what they're doing to this jury every chance they get. Hopefully it sinks into the jury, and hopefully that's what the defense will be relying on.
All right. Well, we'll see see how the defense plays it once they get the ball.
Thank you, Jose.
Jose,
Really
thanks so
appreciate
much.
it.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Take
Thanks
care.
again. Okay, we are going to take a break.
Yes, when we come back, wow, a power move by Taylor Swift. She now has her entire catalog. She has bought it back, and the second she did it, there was a little shot from someone in her camp at Scooter Braun. Little did we know, Taylor Swift had something cooking. Everyone thought that it was going to be the Reputation, Taylor's version, the album was going to come out. Nope. What she had cooking was way bigger than that. She has now purchased her entire music catalog. The thing that has been such a huge issue for her for the last 5 years, the fact that she did not own her masters, is now settled. She bought it from an investment firm called Shamrock Capital. They bought it from Scooter 5 years ago. So this is what Taylor, she posted this morning announcing the great news. She said, "I almost stopped thinking it could happen after 20 years of waiting for a carrot dangled and then yanked away. But that's all in the past now. I've been bursting into tears of joy at random intervals ever since I found out that this is really happening. I really get to say these words. All of the music I've ever made now belongs to me."
So this obviously has to do with her feud with Scooter Braun. Scooter Braun owned the masters through his company. And
not a very long, about a year.
not a very long time. But Taylor Swift has had huge issues with Scooter Braun. And she has said and insinuated over the years that he would not sell her.
Well, no, what she said was that he swooped in and bought it from Big Machine, and she never got the opportunity to buy it. And she was pissed off about that. And then once he had it, she wanted to buy it from him.
Now, it turns out that she could have bought it from him.
Could have.
The notion that she was pitching was he wouldn't sell it to her.
No.
Yeah,
She acknowledged that she felt like she didn't have a real chance to buy it from him because the purchase included a clause in the contract, an NDA that she had to sign to even look at the financials of Big Machine. And that clause was a sticking point for her. She's like, I'm not going to sign that.
But Scooter Braun says that her dad got involved in this, that they had plenty of opportunities to buy it. The sticking point is that they were negotiating, apparently, but what Scooter wanted was this NDA saying you won't talk crap on me.
Right, that you or your people
and I won't talk crap on you. By the
way,
way, that's a really standard clause in a lot of the stuff in the music industry. That is very standard. She wouldn't sign it, and it blew up. But she could have bought it. It's just, you can't talk crap on him, and that wasn't good enough, so she said no.
So she didn't get it, and then he went and sold it a few months later.
They dangled the carrot and yanked it. She just didn't want the terms.
And there's been speculation that Scooter was somehow involved in facilitating this deal with Shamrock. That is definitely not true. And sources connected to the deal say that this deal has actually happened in spite of Scooter, not because of him. So that bitterness is very much still present.
So I have other sources that say Scooter actually advised Shamrock to sell it. So there are two sides on this. And well, I'm not saying I believe one or the other. I'm just saying that they're different stories.
Whatever it is, we know that Scooter wanted the world to know clearly that he is happy for Taylor that she now owns all of her masters.
Is this a bless your heart happy?
I feel like
a little bit. And this, but ultimately, as upset as she was about it, this is the best thing that ever happened to her because she did the Taylor's version, she sold those, the Eras tour, the fans got protective of her. And now I guarantee you she will do remastered versions of the original albums, and she'll just call them Taylor's Original Remastered, and she will sell it to them for the third time. She'll make another $1 billion. She wins.
Hold on, Eric. You can only go so far until, and I'm not saying she's done this, but at a point, it's going to look like you're taking advantage of these fans who are just like cult members in this.
It will look like that to us, but it won't look like that to them.
To them,
they're the ones who are
exactly.
buying it, and that's all that matters.
Hi, it's Sydney calling in from New York. I am very relieved that Taylor has chosen to not re-record her Reputation album and not have to relive that era. But again, I will be buying the re-recording of Debut, her first album, because that would just be so emotional and insane. And I'm hoping she does it maybe for her 20th anniversary.
Oh my God.
See? You know what? By the way, I appreciate the fact that you admit.
We have a 20th anniversary coming up. Would you buy something from us?
Of course.
Yeah,
Great.
right. That was so fun. Okay.
Season 1, Harvey's version.
No, and no.
No.
We're going to
no fixing that. Yes, moving on to some great news in New York, and great news for Timothy Chalamet. The New York Knicks.
Forget Timothy. The Knicks.
Yes, the Knicks staved off. Well, yeah, that's important too. They staved off elimination, winning Game 5 in New York last night. And the reason they won?
Kylie Jenner.
Had nothing to do with the players. It's Kylie Jenner was there. Every time they win in the Garden,
she's there.
Kylie is next to Timothy.
So they play in Indianapolis next.
On Saturday, yeah.
And so the question, is she flying to Indianapolis? Because the fans want her. They want Kylie Jenner.
I mean, she has to. I mean, she's 2-0. Obviously, she wants Timothy to be happy, even though, I mean, going with the boys is obviously more fun. I mean, when you bring your girl, you're making out.
Yeah,
and
but when your girl helps the team win, then
true,
you have to.
because
you got to
last
take the
time they were
bullet.
in Indianapolis, it was just him and Ben Stiller. So now everyone's saying, Ben, you're not going with Timothy. He needs to bring Kylie.
Well, here's a little.
Will she get booed in Indianapolis?
Well, yeah, all Knicks fans get booed in Indianapolis.
Especially Kylie because she's such a good luck charm.
Well, they don't know if it works on the road.
Oh,
yet.
that's true. That's true.
That we gotta figure out. But there is a sign that she's at least considering going, because after the Knicks victory, she posted this or reposted a TikTok from, it's a Sex and the City clip, and I think you can tell why she reposted it.
And when did we start caring about basketball?
Don is obsessed. I don't get laid unless the Knicks win.
Well, good for you, Kylie.
That's hysterical.
Good for you, Kylie. And good for the Knicks.
What's up, fellas? It's Matt in Florida. Just FYI, I'm a gigantic Knicks fan, and I need Kylie Jenner there for Game 6. The back's against the wall. She has to be there. He has to drag her to Indianapolis one way or another. I don't care if Spike Lee's there. It doesn't matter. Kylie and Timothy have to be there courtside. She's the good luck charm. They're 2-0 with her. Bring the Rizzler, to be honest, too. The Rizzler and Kylie Jenner are the two biggest good luck charms I've ever seen for this team. But my God, that TikTok repost, she needs to be there. I don't care in what, if she's even ever been to the state of Indianapolis. Knicks fans everywhere need her there. Knicks in 7. That's the bottom line. Let's go Knicks.
If Timothy walks in by himself, people are going to be so disappointed.
Go back. You are obsessive with sports. I'm looking at your wall. Jeez.
Yeah, he's a sports fan. So
I
what?
know, but
why are you making him feel bad about it?
No, I know. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
I live and die with the orange and blue. I mean, I'm wearing a Mets shirt, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, I'm rooting for you because I think it involves mental health too. We got to maintain yours.
I didn't know my segment was going to be that long. Do you have time for like a therapy session?
Okay, now we got to take a break.
Yeah, we got to take a break. When we come back, Cardi B responding to Offset's request for spousal support when he's worth a reported $30 million. Oh boy, you're gonna hear what she had to say when we come back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall.
It's TMZ.
Well, 24 hours ago, we talked about the fact that Offset has requested spousal support in his divorce from Cardi B. And we talked about the fact that, look, by the numbers, usually the way this works is the person who is the breadwinner ends up paying spousal support.
Depending on the amount of money the other person
and Harvey,
has.
I think I get your point that he is more than liquid enough. He's got $30 million according to some reports. She does have 80 to 100 million, so...
You don't just get it because somebody gets more than you.
Well, Cardi B definitely is more seeing things your way, although she said it far more colorfully than you did. This is her response to the spousal support request.
The only reason why this asking for spousal support, because I was asking for everything. Because I was asking for everything, and because I don't be with my kids. Yo, you such ass. Word to my mother. I want you to die, but I want you to die slow. When you die, I want you to die slow in the bed. And while you die, you gotta think of me.
Wow. If that were in the
I haven't heard word to my mother in a long time, but man, we got to bring that back. That was powerful.
She should put that in the response document.
To my mother.
She should put that in the whole response document. Wow, if they end up going to court on this, can you imagine that hearing?
He should stay home. Let your attorneys handle it.
She is so pissed.
She actually defended Offset in her feud against Love and Hip Hop's Hazel E, and now she wants him to die. So this is an escalation that I think is never going to be resolved. So Offset just needs to sign the papers because City Boys are looking bad.
Well, she's got to I mean, is he co-parenting with her?
He still wants the custody, but he also wants the money, and that set her off.
This is going to be a custody battle. This is going to be a money battle.
I thought that would be his play. I thought his play
would be a battle.
I thought his play would be child support and not spousal support. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's
the spousal support.
That's why I'm asking the question about how much does he have the kids, because it's easier to get child support than spousal support.
But say that in the rant, Cardi said that Offset actually stands up to kids. She gives him leeway to go see the kids, and he stands them up.
So I think that may be why he's not asking for child support. There's got to be some reason here.
Right. So this is just since he's not asking for child support because she has the kids most of the time, this is the only thing he can...
It's his only
play.
Yeah.
And
she
ain't having it.
Jim Croce could add her to that song.
Essence from Atlanta. Offset as a con artist, he knows that he is probably going broke. He will never have a hit again. So this is his best angle. I hate that my girl was married to the enemy, but I hope he doesn't get anything because he made his bed and now he has to lay in it.
Honestly, I don't think he's going to get spousal support. But man, that court hearing...
That's the least of his concerns. You shouldn't worry about spousal support anymore. You should just worry about living.
By the way, Offset, I don't know if you saw A$AP Rocky jumping over the banister in the courtroom, but warning, we're going to take a break.
Do you want to pay off your bad reference?
You don't mess around with Cardi B.
Right.
And then you also don't mess around with Jim.
And Jim, right. Cardi first and then Jim.
Right. Okay.
Sorry, Jim, you got bumped.
We're taking a break.
When we come back, Todd Chrisley speaking to the media for the first time since he got out of prison, and he's got some choice words for the feds, and he's clearly learning from the guy who let him out of prison. Welcome back to TMZ Live. Todd Chrisley, never one to shy away from cameras, and as expected, he held a news conference today with Savannah by his side.
Well, I take issue with that. By the way, he did kind of shy away from cameras, but put a bag over his face.
Well, while he was, I was going to say, do you see that shirt he's wearing at the news conference?
No. Let me look.
See, maybe you like it. You know, sporty little number. He went out. Turns out he went shopping last night before the news conference, and during their shopping spree, he had some words for the feds.
I have been out for 12 hours and I'm shopping.
So he said he's been out for 12 hours and he's shopping. We had to get him something to work for this press conference tomorrow, y'all. This is absolutely hilarious. He looks like he hasn't aged a day. That's hilarious.
It's called the BOP Globe. Am I still on?
Yeah, you're still on.
Can y'all believe the audacity? Treating me like a common criminal.
Shut up.
Y'all, it's been a hell of a day, but I'm back. The feds got
Wow. That is right out of the Trump playbook.
Woo! Well, guess what? You know what? I'm glad you said that, the Trump playbook, because during the news conference where he showed off his new shirt, a reporter asked him about the actual case that landed him in prison, and check out his response.
Do you have any remorse for the actions that led to your evictions?
Oh, you must be CNN. Do I have any remorse? I would have remorse if it was something that I did.
Well, your wife did apologize last year in terms of,
Well, let me explain to you how that works, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You're placed in a position as a defendant to either bow down and kiss the ass of the Department of Justice and accept responsibility for things that you did not do in order to avoid a stronger sentence. And the corruption that went on in our case is going to continue to unfold, and Alex is going to continue to give each and every one of you the evidence that as it comes in.
Ooh, wow. Ooh, corruption. And he called out the reporter, too. He said, because they've had another follow-up question, he's like, you must be, I won't say the network, but he did it just the way, it's one of Trump's least favorite.
Very Trumpy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys one thing. Todd going to jail did not take any of his sassiness away, because he was super sassy, not only at the press conference, but even in his videos with Savannah, the things that he was saying being fresh out. You know, a lot of people do love Todd and Julie. They love their show, but a lot of comments that I saw in the videos of Todd, you know, kind of making light of the situation and getting the pardon, kind of rub people the wrong way.
Well, here's the thing about it. It's the Trump world right now, and that is so predictable that he would do something like that, because we've heard that from a lot of people who have been pardoned. So, A, it's predictable, and B, this is an advertisement for his new show.
For his new show, right.
It's absolutely
He
an
knows
ad
right
for
off
his
the
new
bat
show.
he's got to be
He's
entertaining.
got to show everybody I still got it, and I think for what his purpose
what
was,
he does,
it worked.
He brought the heat.
Yep.
Hey guys, I know I'm one of the many Americans that is absolutely ecstatic that Todd Chrisley and Julie Chrisley are out of prison. Their pardon was much deserved and completely justified. There was immense Fourth Amendment violations. I'm sure Harvey can explain that to you guys later. But if you guys actually look at the facts of the case, these guys were definitely put up against something very unjust. Their partner only received 1.5 years. They received 7 and 12-year sentences, and it was their partner that stole the money, not them.
You know what the Fourth Amendment is?
Would you like to tell us about how it applies?
Do you know what the Fourth Amendment is?
I'm your counselor.
Unreasonable search and seizure. Mm-hmm. Let's move on.
Do you know how this applies in this case?
They took documents, and it was a whole thing. The judge said no, that's not why they were pardoned, but whatever. Okay, we're going to
Doesn't
move.
matter, they're out now. Yes, moving on to some big family news from the Hadids, Gigi and Bella.
I am shocked at this.
I
am shocked at
what's
this.
the movie quote? Is it Star Wars? Or is it There Is Another?
Yeah, there is another.
Yes, another Hadid.
Another Hadid.
They revealed.
Dare I say, a beautiful Hadid.
Well, that almost goes without saying.
Well, which side of the family is this? Do you know?
This is Muhammad's side of the family. That is the not new. I mean, she's 23 years old. Her name is Aiden Nix, and Gigi and Bella said they have known about her for 4 or 5 years now.
So check this out. She had a man who grew up where she grew up, and
that she believed to be her father.
She thought it was her dad. He died when she was 19. So she, for whatever reason, does a DNA test, finds out Muhammad is her dad, which means Gigi and Bella are half-sisters.
Right.
And they apparently have known about this.
They've known about it.
They've known about it since 2023, and they've hung out. They're all like hanging out as a family with Muhammad and everyone. They said that they love her, but she wants to stay private, so please respect her privacy. And she like lives in New York now. But she already has gained over 5,000 followers since this got announced, so I don't think that's really going to happen because she's so hot, and Muhammad makes very attractive kids. So she's only going to become more and more famous.
Does she have a career?
It's going to become modeling, right?
That's what I
It's
was
gotta be. Like, look at her.
Well, no, that's what I was going to ask too.
What?
Okay.
What does she do?
She goes to school in New York. But I have a feeling she'll drop out soon and take their
You said she wants to be private.
I know, but that's what they said. But I don't think she is because they originally met.
Coming from the woman who spent 7 years at ASU.
It was
more than 7.
Do not
it was
count
9.
me short, Harvey.
It was 9.
That is highly offensive.
Wow. 9 years. All right. We are going to take a break, and when we come back, got some bad news about AI and what it means for your employment in the very near future. We're not talking 10 years down the road. Try as high as 50% unemployment.
In like 5 years.
Yeah. So what are you going to do to fight back? How do you fight AI? There are ways to do it. We are going to follow the money with Damon John when we come back. You know, we've been so worried about robots and that the future was coming and robots were going to take over the world. It's not necessarily robots. The more immediate problem is AI.
Oh, yeah.
And according to one tech CEO, the CEO of Anthropic, he is warning everyone that there is going to be mass unemployment due to AI.
Check this.
And not in the way off future.
Check this out. In 5 years, the unemployment rate is going to be 20%, according to him, and
even higher
for entry-level jobs. We're talking, postal workers. They say this is all going to be automated, and on and on and on and on. And, I've been reading about AI this week, and what everybody thinks is happening, it is exponentially going faster than they think.
But it's going much
way
faster
than people think.
So it is definitely time to start following the money here, and that means we got to bring in Damon John from Shark Tank, our good buddy Damon. You have been talking about this AI thing a lot. You saw this coming. What do we do?
I think the unemployment rate is going to hit around 35%. It is very, very powerful. It is coming regardless. And a lot of people think that it's just the bosses that are getting rid of people. But I want people to put themselves in today's climate. It's not the bosses. It's you getting rid of people. I give people this example. If there's 5 airlines, and you are going to these airlines, when's the last time that a flight has been delayed or changed and you had to stand on the line with 200 people and worry about where your flight was going to go or how you got rebooked?
Right.
So imagine if those 4 airlines do that, but you're the airline that doesn't have AI. You, the consumer, are getting rid of that business or never supporting it.
Can I give you an example? I mean, because this has happened to me. I am absolutely in love with Waymos, the driverless cars. I didn't know that I'd be into it, but I took one and I take it every weekend now. I love it. But I'm putting people out of business. I'm not.
Just because you don't like talking to people.
They're fabulous. But that's what you're talking about, right?
That's what I'm talking about. And guess what happened? All those people, I'm not getting into politics, whether we like the guy or not, but all those people that have Teslas for the last 5 to 10 years, Waymo is not going to catch up with the fact that every one of you with a Tesla, you created the tracking and the patterns for all of the driving. But let's look at something else, because it's going to get serious, and I want our people to hopefully give them some answers now. If you have 40 people that I just did the math, 40 people that live on your block or in your neighborhood, but 10 of them work in a factory, well, those machines are going to take that over. And 10 of them work combined of delivering for FedEx, long distance truckers, deliveries, and Ubers. Well, that's all going autonomous. And 10 of those families work in retail, which we know they're all closing. Well, when all 30 of those go out of, they don't have any place to eat or feed themselves, and you're the 10 in that neighborhood, who do you think they're coming for?
Okay, so listen, here's what I think.
Boy, that was ominous.
Here's the essence of this to me, is that we know it's coming. It is coming, and it's going to displace a ton of work. It's here, and it's just exponentially going to get bigger. So there are people, say, 50 years old, and there are people 20 years old. The 20-year-olds want to enter the job market, and the 50-year-olds are thinking, I'm going to lose my job. Where do both of these groups pivot to? What do they do? What does the 20-year-old do to get some form of job security?
I think they're in much better position.
And what does a 50-year-old do knowing that they're going to lose their job?
Accelerated retirement.
Excellent. So we talked about this before, right? So first of all, a lot of the playing field is becoming equal, because now you don't necessarily need to go to college, but you know what's going to need to happen? Well, what we should trade jobs, right? Mac Ebert with, Crash Champions. Those 20-year-olds can shorten their experience of having to put this time into there, not take loans, and go into places where things are going to need to be fixed, where human experiences are going to be needed. The 50-year-old, guess what? You don't necessarily have to go out and do physical work. You can learn programming, AI, and various other things. So now you can compete up to 80, 90 years old. You can learn live selling or various other things to drag things from Amazon and retailers and sell it because you're AI, and you sell it to your community.
But you shouldn't wait until you get fired. You should start now.
No, absolutely not. So here's how we start now, and here's how we start today. This thing can be absolutely intimidating. But what I try to do is, if you have a social media feed, take 5 to 10% of the things you follow and go follow things that are in the area you want to follow in. So AI, put them in your scroll. The same way you have travel, food, health, school, education in there. Start putting in your scroll. Don't buy anything. Don't buy any courses, anything else. Start to learn AI. Go into ChatGPT and ask questions. Remember, it's not an assistant. ChatGPT is more like a collaborator. It's just like if somebody would told you in 1997, by the way, encyclopedias are no longer going to be around. There's something called Google, and you go, no way, I'm still going to drag my butt to the library and go look at an encyclopedia. You start to slowly integrate this. I swear to you, the thing about AI, it speeds up so fast that if these people today, whoever's watching us today, take my advice and you start putting it in your feed, and you start to notice in your feed 3 to 4 months, I swear to you, in 6 months, you will almost be an AI expert because it moves so quick.
Okay, last question. So predict what year people are going to start having full-on relationships with robots.
Well, in Vegas, it's happening immediately. It's happening
I'm not talking about blow-up dolls. I'm talking about like real.
I mean, some of the people you meet, you might mistake for robots.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking about this.
I would say that's going to be about 4 to 5 years away, probably. Yeah, because right now, they have shown studies that the AI is talking to kids and unfortunately people enough where they're having this unrealistic relationship.
Yep.
And I think about 4 years, you're going to see this in real time.
Okay, Damon.
All right, Damon.
All right.
We'll see you later.
Okay.
Wow. I'm glad I'm checking out. We're taking a break.
Great. When we come back, forget Sleepy Joe. How about Spicy Joe? You're going to hear what former President Biden is saying about going toe-to-toe with one Jake Tapper. Yeah, he's got a little fight left in him, and he wants to bring it to Jake. Well, President Biden, former President Biden, spoke out today, and he did did discuss his health. We know, of course, that he's been diagnosed with prostate cancer, but he was really incensed, clearly incensed about Jake Tapper's book, Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, their book Original Sin, where they detailed his decline, the decline of his health while he was in office.
And how his aides kept it secret.
Yes. So question was put to him about his mental acuity and the reports in that book. Here was his response. Jake Tapper better watch his back.
There's also been a lot of discussion recently about your mental and physical capabilities while you were in office.
You can see that. I'm mentally incompetent, and I can't walk, and I can beat the hell out of both of them.
Do you want to reply to any of those reports, and also to the fact that there are some Democrats who are now questioning whether you should have run for re-election in the first place?
Why didn't they run against me then? Because I'd have beaten them.
Well, he was running. I mean, wait a minute. I didn't quite understand that.
I know.
That didn't make sense.
It doesn't help. It's not
Right,
a good follow-up after
help.
the first question.
It doesn't help.
Look, and I read Tapper's book. I read the fight book. There's nobody. The president's own pollster said there's no way you can win this election, and they told him that. So I don't know what Joe Biden is saying here. I'm not sure he knows, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, that didn't make sense.
I don't know. It's like a massive political scandal, and I still don't think it's getting enough attention. We do not know who was president for the last 4 years.
Okay, can I just say, I just feel like, look, the reporter followed up with a substantive question, but you're not going to get anything substantive from that. But what you should say is, so how would you beat him? That's what I would ask. So how would you go 1-on-2 and beat him?
Would you talking arm wrestling?
Yeah, just get
arm
into
wrestling,
it.
bare knuckle. What's
Just
it gonna be?
get into it.
Right.
I would watch, though. I would definitely watch and pay-per-view all. Like, I'll give all my money.
For the record, the congressman we had on TMZ Live yesterday went into the newsroom.
Whooped everyone in our newsroom.
Whooped everyone in a push-up contest.
Yeah.
And
everybody.
the planks. This
And a
guy
plank.
he's a machine. That guy was incredibly impressive in his 50s, too.
I'm Reed Ledbetter from Fort Smith, Arkansas. I voted for Joe Biden in multiple elections, but that said, Joe is 82, and while Jake is 56 and in good health, like, there's absolutely 0% chance Joe would win in a physical fight. But if it ever came to that, I just hope that, like, Jake would respectfully decline the challenge.
I think Jake is pretty happy for this soundbite.
So
I don't know that he wants to actually fight the president because there's no.
Jake's
there's no glory in beating up an 80-something-year-old.
Yeah, Jake's like, I'm just like Jake Paul now. Okay, we got to take a break.
All right. When we come back, James Blunt, remember him? You remember the song, of course. Hit it, Harv.
Don't
do it. Thank you. No, don't. But when he's just made a reveal about that song, that is pretty shocking.
Oh my God, this one's not about a dog too, is it?
Could be. I think James Blunt, the guy who sang that song, You're Beautiful, I think he's going to owe an explanation to a lot of people who probably played his song at their wedding, because this is not the romantic tune you thought it was.
She was with another man.
20 years ago today, I put out the song that bought me this house. I mean, who would have thought? A song about being high as a kite on drugs, stalking someone else's girlfriend, would resonate quite so much. You guys are beautiful.
Well, now you tell us, James.
So hold on. You mentioned something about playing it at weddings and everything else. You know what else I play at weddings?
Oh, boy. What?
Every breath you take, every step you take, I'll be watching you.
Every breath you take is the same thing. Is definitely
It's a stalker song.
It's kind of a stalker song.
I mean, weddings are filled with stalkers, okay? Which is why you should elope. Have a good weekend. Think about it.